Jeanty could go number 4 overall, according to a lot of pundits and mock drafts and talking heads out there. But this is something we've talked about for quite some time. It's funny how people catch up to what we talk about weeks and weeks beforehand. But this number 5, did I put number 5, number 4? I put number 4 on the graphic. I meant to say 5. 5 is this leapfrog spot we keep talking about. Number 6 is the Jeanty to the Raiders, lock that everybody's been predicting, and we hope it comes true. This is the best landing spot. But the leapfrog spot, the place for Denver to jump into and get into the Jeanty game, the Bears to come up and say, you know what, Las Vegas, we're taking Ashton Jeanty. This leapfrog spot, as we've talked about it for weeks now, is probably the most likely landing spot. We're talking about George Kittle, contract not close with the Niners. Why are they even extending him? Brock Purdy's deal, not close. These two might not show up. And we've got football to talk about. NFL draft related, not NFL draft related, fantasy football, dynasty, all that and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Like we've been saying for weeks now, everybody following the show, the trend of the show. How many people watch this channel, I wonder? Because now everybody's favorite predictions, what we've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks. The leapfrog spot. Who's grabbing it, though? Could the Jaguars actually draft Ashton Jeanty? We've kicked this around, too. That Liam Cohen, the creator of the Bucky Irving experiment that was very, very well executed last year, might say, as we've said many times, forget ETN. And I like Bigsby. I love Bigsby. But forget Bigsby. This is Ashton Jeanty. As I've said all week long, too, if I'm the Titans, I take Jeanty 1. If I'm the Browns and Jeanty's still there, I count my lucky stars. I take Jeanty number 2. If I'm the Giants and no one's taken Jeanty yet, I take him 3. If I'm the Patriots, I take him 4. If I'm the Jaguars, I sure as hell am not passing on Ashton Jeanty, but I don't draft these teams. I'm not the GM of these organizations. I'm not the decision maker or the suit that makes this decision. These guys are human beings and they're vulnerable to mistakes, and not taking Jeanty 1 overall in this draft is a mistake. The only excuse you have, I don't even care if it's Cam Ward, doesn't make it any better. The only excuse you could have is maybe Travis Hunter, because you plan on using him as both a wide receiver and a defensive back. And if that's the case, then a Jeanty and Travis Hunter debate can be had all day long. These are two very good players. But this leapfrog spot, the 5 spot, I mentioned 4 at the beginning, I'm sorry. 5 spot, the leapfrog spot we've been talking about for weeks. Is it going to be Ben Johnson who tries to say, I've telegraphed this, I've made it abundantly clear that Jeanty I thought would be here at 10 when I first started signing all these offensive linemen. We fixed the offensive line, the defensive line, we think. You don't know that they have. They've tried to their best of their ability, and they've used free agency to do it. Ben Johnson has made it crystal clear, telegraphed. This is easier than dropping back and throwing a pass. Where's my football? Where's my damn football when I need it? Here it is. It's as easy as drop it. This is what Ben Johnson's doing. Ben Johnson's going like this. It's the easiest things to see coming. There's nothing more clear than Ben Johnson wants an RB at 10, wanted Jeanty at 10, and now he's going to do his damnedest to get this 5 pick from the Jaguars. Who's going to overpay? Is it, as we've said, Denver? From even months ago, the one team that gets Jeanty might not even be inside the top 10 right now. The team that gets Jeanty, there's probably a 30 or 40%, no, 30% chance, 35% chance, in my humble opinion, that the team that ends up with Jeanty is currently not slotted in the top 10, meaning probably the Broncos. So the Broncos are going to get aggressive. Jeanty fits the bill. If not, they take Hampton. If he fell, he won't fall. I mean, he may fall. he could fall if for any reason the Raiders traded, or I'm saying the Jaguars traded with the Bears, and then the Bears take Jeanty at 5, and then we just have this weird free fall because the Bears aren't there to take Hampton, and then the Cowboys botch it and don't take him. There's a chance that the 20 pick could get Hampton, but I don't think so. I don't think he would fall. I think even the Saints would consider Hampton. Honestly, people act like Hampton can't go in the top 10. That's about as dumb as saying Penix Jr. wasn't a top 10 pick last year, and we told everyone Penix Jr. was going top 10. End of the day, I'd probably say it's a 50-50 chance that Ben Johnson and the Bears trade up to 5, as much as it is a chance that the Broncos sell the farm to go get that 5 pick. I think Sean Payton wants Jeanty about as much as Ben Johnson. I think Sean Payton loves Trevion Henderson so much, and Hampton, that he's a little less eager to sell the farm, though. Given that the Bears have the 10 pick, and I'm dreading if this happens, I do not want Jeanty on the Bears roster. It's not that I don't think it's an okay spot. It's just not the most ideal spot. So, of the 4 or 5 ideal spots, it is the last one on the list. It's still there, but it's the last one on the list. Ples is trading up for him. Look, Ples is Mike. You got the worst GM in the league, aside from maybe Jerry Jones, Joe Scheinbach's, and maybe one other GM. Ryan Ples is probably a bottom 5 guaranteed GM in the league. Just so you know, Mike, you might think he's a hero. Ples is absolutely awful. Every single thing you're looking at right now trying to revamp and fix is Ples is doing. Ples used everybody as a scapegoat. Your GM hired the worst offensive coordinator and head coach he could have possibly hired. Eberflus and Shane Waldron were the dumbest decisions a GM could ever have made for this particular quarterback, Caleb Williams. So Ryan Ples is inept. Ryan Ples has made so many mistakes. So I wouldn't put it past him for overpaying. I think he could overpay to get Jeanty and try and make up for some of the wrongs that he's had go down. But Ryan Ples, these Bears fans think he's a hero. These Bears fans, they think he's good. He's one of the worst. Bottom, I'm going to put him 3. I'm going to put, as much as, I don't even know if we could put Jerry below him, because even though Jerry's a bad GM, he's still got a good team that still wins. Yeah, the hiring of Shane Waldron is incompetence. It makes Ryan Ples look like an absolute buffoon. And the fact that this Bears organization keeps Ryan Ples in charge shows you that they're not a very serious football organization. They're non-football people that are not serious about football running the Chicago Bears. And if you're a true Bear fan, you know this to be true. If you're going to defend Ryan Ples and ownership, then you're either so blind to your Chicago Bears, you can't even admit the truth, what the problem is. Ples is the problem. Ples has let everyone go but himself. And he's the root of all of the evil that's occurred in the last, 2 years, 3 years that have unraveled. This guy's been ripping the meat off the bone for the moment in time that was last year. No one's ever been handed a better offensive situation than Caleb Williams last year as a rookie, right? And then everybody gets fired. Shane Waldron, the stupidest hire I've ever seen in my life. And you know why? One thing I can tell you that proves how bad Ryan Ples is. He didn't hire Caleb Williams' almost second father, who wanted to coach him, who wanted to be his head coach instead of Eberflus. This man, Ryan Ples, decided, I'm not going to bring in Caleb Williams' second father, who is Cliff Kingsbury, who wanted to go there instead of Washington. And Ryan Ples didn't want it. He was too polarizing. And when they were thinking about bringing him in as OC, Ryan Ples said no again. Get Shane Waldron. Why? Because Eberflus was intimidated and didn't want a a offensive coordinator like Cliff Kingsbury in there to intimidate him and make decisions and undermine him and be more intelligent than Eberflus was. And so Ryan Poles for that should be fired. That makes him the worst GM maybe in football, to not have a backbone or intelligence to say, hey, I'm going to bring in the best OC. I'm not going to bring in who Eberflus thinks he can control. What a disaster. And to this point right here, where we say, what about Ben? What about Ben Johnson? Can Ben Johnson be the key to all of this, to turn it around? If Ben Johnson does go trade up to the number 5, the leapfrog spot, and gets this 5 pick and leapfrogs the Jeanty selecting by the LV Raiders, is there a possibility that Ben Johnson can turn this entire thing around? I think there's a chance for sure. I think Ben Johnson can get probably Goff production out of Caleb. I do. Do I think Caleb's a top 5 quarterback ever in this league? Absolutely not. What do I look like, a moron? Do I look like a moron? I mean, seriously, this is why it's so funny when people come in here and defend Caleb Williams. It's asinine to me that we're going to sit here and try and say, yeah, he's going to be deserving of being the number 1 overall pick. No one's saying Caleb Williams can't be a lingering QB in the NFL. No one's saying that Ben Johnson can't get Goff production out of him. We'll see what Goff is now that his knight in shining armor is gone. Ben Johnson not being in Detroit, we're going to see who Goff really is. I believe that the Detroit Lions, and we have some JMO Williams news that we'll break down in a minute. I believe the departure of Ben Johnson in Detroit potentially sets Goff back a significant amount. A significant amount. Not enough to make them a bad team, but this team is not going to be more Super Bowl contending in 2025 than it was in 2024. And I hate to say that, but I'm an objective person. I don't cling on to Jahmyr Gibbs and St. Brown and JMO and Laporta, all players I love in fantasy football. All players I still love in fantasy football. All players I will continue to support and promote at the right ADP. And most of them, aside from JMO, have fantastic value. And I'm drafting Gibbs all day long. And in some ways, Gibbs might benefit from an offense that can't pass as well. They'll probably throw to him, check down to him, on top of run the ball more. But Ben Johnson leaving is a disaster. A disaster for the Detroit Lions. They hired within. We hope they can keep the same type of momentum. But that usually doesn't end well, or at least it usually doesn't become a better situation. The guy that's learning from Ben Johnson, that's replacing Ben Johnson, that really only internal people know about, and Lions fans know about, and they rise someone up as the OC to replace. They hire within to keep the same structure, the same system, and the same vibe going, a momentum. It usually doesn't turn out to be better. I doubt we're getting better production out of Jared Goff, who in some ways was playing at a level that Purdy was playing in Shanahan's propped up system, where Purdy was a system quarterback that took his team to a Super Bowl, took his team far into the playoffs, made everybody believe he's a little bit better than he is. And that's okay, because that's football. That's football. You get surrounded by great talent, you play better. Was Emmitt Smith ever as good as Barry Sanders? Absolutely not. I mean, this isn't even a debate, but did Emmitt Smith produce like Barry Sanders? Yes, he did. In many cases better. But that doesn't mean he was a better talent. He was just in a better system. So can Brock Purdy outperform a lot of better QBs? He certainly can. But as we saw the Niners fall apart last year, and now we see them dismantle half of their team, Brock Purdy's going to turn back into what most people will finally confirm and agree upon in general as a system guy that's pretty good, but he's a system guy. Goff is a system guy. Goff is propped up by Ben Johnson, or he was. Goff will take a step backward. So that brings us full circle to Ben Johnson. How valuable is Ben Johnson? Can Ben Johnson come in and change the Chicago Bear trajectory? Can he come in and rebuild this thing? Can he come in and have enough ability and decision making to go get Jeanty, to go get the pieces he needs to thrive? I think that there's a real shot he could, but we have to remember a couple things. Just because you're a good OC does not make you a good head coach. And I don't think it's a very good rule of thumb to assume that every great OC is automatically going to be a good head coach. I'm not betting against Ben Johnson, but I'm certainly not betting the farm on him. I think that he has a downside here and a disadvantage of going into an organization that is not serious about football. They don't understand it from the top down. The suits and the brass don't know what they're doing. And if they give Ben Johnson free reign, we will probably see him have some ability to turn this thing around. But guess who's the ultimate say? Guess who's still in charge? Ryan Poles. So how much control does Ben have? I don't know. If Ryan Poles is making a lot of these decisions, I'm sure he leans on Ben Johnson's opinion. Ben, this is going to be your offense. What do you want? I'm sure that that's a part of it. But Ryan Poles is such a bad decision maker. One of the worst, bottom 3 in the NFL as a GM. It's hard for me to look past it and say, in this bad organization run by bad, non-serious football people with a GM like Ryan Poles, who should have fired himself, but he didn't. He fired everybody else, and the brass and ownership just let it happen. He said, it's all their fault. And they just said, okay, Ryan, let's give you another try. That makes me feel like Ben does go in a little handcuffed. Now, can Ben pick his own locks and get out of his handcuffs? Ryan Poles get fired next year when Ben shows promise and Ben turns the whole thing around? It's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. But it's hard to bet the farm on it. So when we talk about Jeanty and where's his best landing spot, it is not Chicago. It's not Chicago where they're going to try and throw a lot. And I'm not saying that's horrible to have balance or anything like that, but it is one of the better landing spots for Jeanty, but it's at the bottom of the good grouping of landing spots. A much better landing spot is LV. A much better landing spot would be probably New Orleans in time. I don't know about year one. Year one would be a little bit cloudy because of Kamara's presence, but long term, this is one of the better places for a running back. They would build around him. Dallas would be better. I would say New Orleans is not better than Dallas. I would say Dallas is maybe 2 or tied with for second with Denver, or tied with Washington, Denver, and Dallas all being a 3-way tie for an RB. I think those are the best spots. Dallas, Washington, Denver, and LV. And Cleveland. Cleveland might be actually the second best landing spot. So let me reorder them. I would say LV, Dallas, Cleveland. God, I can't even. They're all good. Those are all so good. I don't even know where to go. Cleveland's so intriguing to me because we saw Ford do amazing. We've seen this team run the ball very, very well for years. They always will. They've got a good defense. They just need a quarterback. But we've seen a running back thrive in this environment, even the way that it is right now. I think it would be very, very solid running back play from Jeanty in Cleveland. But Denver, Washington, I'm not saying Washington's trading up for Jeanty. I'm just pointing out all of the most ideal landing spots. Washington is the least likely to occur. Understand what I'm saying? And then we look at Hampton and we say, Matt, we got the news coming, bro. We're going to talk about JMO in a second, like I said. I would say this is like 7th best spot for Jeanty to fall Chicago. That's not bad. That's not me. That's me being real and being honest with the situation. But just because I don't have Chicago 1 or 2, it pisses off the Chicago Bear fans so much they think I'm biased. They think I'm not legitimately evaluating this properly. If I was biased, I wouldn't have them in the top 6 or 7 landing spots. But it genuinely is in the top 6 or 7 overall landing spots. But it's not my favorite of the top 6 by any means. I'm hoping that Denver trades up to 5 or the Jaguars do not trade the pick. I do not want Jeanty falling here. Okay, so let's get into the rest of the news. So Jeanty, this report here, NFL Daniel Jeremiah believes that Ashton Jeanty feels like a Jacksonville Jaguar to me. And I know we've talked about this a lot. And if I was Liam Cohen, who just made Bucky into a monster, and he likes Bigsby, he likes ETN, but I think he knows that this is an option for him, and he's considering it. So don't think for a second that the Jags won't grab Jeanty. It's a very, very likely scenario to play out. Let's go over to the JMO news first, and some of you were asking about that, and we can put that on screen, and then we'll move on to the other piece of news. JMO is in some rumors and some trade rumors that have been circling, but keep in mind we're in the middle of smoke season, and it's hard to make heads or tails of this. And honestly, I don't think it's really good concrete info. I think that there's definitely, it's going to be shot down very quickly because people are going to inquire if it's not true. So we should know probably before the draft. If the Lions stay quiet about it and the Lions don't shoot it down, because this will be asked publicly, this will be public, information. we will have this information. This is coming from many sources, but Albert Breer, I believe, is the originating source. Some believe the Lions, Jameson Williams could be traded. If the Lions don't shoot this down before draft day, and they will be asked about it 100 times over, then there's legitimate truth to the idea that they're willing to listen to offers. Now, why would they listen to offers? Because they don't want to pay them, a huge amount of money, and there could be other reasons for that we aren't privy to. They also probably are looking at this season as something they want to potentially feel out as to the departure of Ben Johnson. What's it going to look like? How do they want to structure their offense moving forward? Do they have concerns about Goff long term? What are they going to do with this? Are they going to transition over to an even more heavy run attack with the departure of Ben Johnson? How is this going to look? And do they want to pay this guy the amount of money he's going to ask for? And he deserves a big bag. He's going to get quite a bit of money. Think T. Higgins type of money. But I don't know. I would say that the likelihood of this being true to the degree that they're shopping him is probably under 50%. But still, that's significant. If we're saying that it's flirting with the 50% likelihood of being true in terms of them wanting to trade him, that's a significant enough, piece of information. I would say... the likelihood that they're willing to listen is more along the lines of 60%, 70%, or maybe even 100% willing to listen. But, because you're going to listen to anything. You're not going to shut the door on an offer. You're always going to entertain. If someone called you up and said, to the Eagles, we want Saquon Barkley, you would probably say, that's cute. That's cute. What do you have in mind? We're just curious. You're going to listen. And you're probably going to slam the door shut. So even if this team doesn't want to trade him, what disadvantage do you have other than confidence instilled in said player, which is different with a quarterback? I always give this example with JJ McCarthy. When someone says, who's your starting quarterback? And we got JJ McCarthy news too, which is positive for him. If somebody says, is JJ McCarthy your starter? There is a big difference in saying, are you guys entertaining trade offers for JMO? And the Lions probably will not say yes. They will say, look, we're not going to discuss that right now. We're always listening to offers. We'll listen to anything. That doesn't necessarily, hurt his confidence or anything. But if somebody says, hey, is JJ McCarthy your starter? Then you got to answer yes. If you don't, and they haven't been, we got good news today. It's trending in the right direction, but they haven't been. They've been very, very mute about it. And even when JJ McCarthy's been asked, he's like, no, they haven't named me the starter. There's no one else on the roster. He's the only quarterback on the roster. So this isn't good for a quarterback's confidence. Can he overcome it? Sure. And this isn't a knock on JJ McCarthy. It's a knock on how the Lions have been handling it. But as of JMO, what is the disadvantage of just flying under the radar into the draft and letting some offers come in, letting people wonder what you're going to do with your pick, making people think you could trade JMO and draft a wide receiver, and there's some logic to that. If you're the Detroit Lions and let's say you're worried a little bit about Goff, and you're potentially interested in drafting a potential, I don't know, Jalen Milroe just in case, I would. I don't believe in Goff. Goff is a mediocre quarterback that Ben Johnson made look like a prince, man. This is not a great quarterback, Jared Goff. There's some Goff believers out there. This is what we call that what did I call it the other day, Travis? It was the cultic, like, percentage of propped up value. It's a cultic following value. It's what makes Jacoby Myers a wide receiver 1 to some people. It's what made Deontay Johnson go in the 2nd and 3rd round for a couple of years in a row. And I sat here and I said, what are you all doing? Stop it with Deontay Johnson. And people were just, there was a cultic following for it. Like, he's going to, and it grows other people's interest because it's such a diehard following. It's a smaller group, but they're so loud, they make the value go up. And I'm going to have a meter that goes, that's going to let you know how much of this player's value is real, in my opinion, and how much of it is propped up by a loud cult following that's making this player seem bigger than they are. And Goff is one of those players. There's a cult following about that he's much better than you say, Smitty. Stop. Goff is damn good, Smitty. He's so good. He is not. Ben Johnson made him good. He's not great. He plays good. Ben Johnson, you guys all have a quick, I'm going to say you guys, I'm talking about the Goff believers. All the Goff believers out there, you guys have a real short memory for how much everybody hated Goff before Ben Johnson turned it around. Goff is average. He's garbage. He'll throw it away at the end of the day, and he's not going to win a Super Bowl. Now, all of a sudden, Goff's this major, amazing quarterback. Goff is average, and Ben Johnson leaving will expose that. So if you're the Lions, you have to be contemplating. A potential Jalen Milroe or Shedeur Sanders or Dart or other selection if it falls right in this draft. And let's say you're sitting there and you say, look, we can grab, and I don't think Igbuka falls to 28, but let's just say he did. And you can trade JMO and start the clock over on a wide receiver. You might consider it. So this is not crazy talk that JMO could get traded. But again, we'll know in the coming days and really week whether this is true or not, based on, in terms of them entertaining a trade, based on how likely or how much against the Lions are to this, rumor and their reaction. So JMO to be traded, if he got traded, he would get traded to a place that probably really needed a wide receiver. So he probably would stay at least at the same value in some degree, or he could go somewhere and struggle on the transition. Wide receiver moves are not always the easiest transition in year one, and there's still a team like the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know that they'd be involved in a big trade and then give the extension, because remember, wherever JMO goes, if he gets traded, he will get a big fat T. Higgins contract extension, because no team's going to actually give up draft capital, trade for a player, and not extend him. So they go hand in hand 99.9% of the time. You'll always hear a trade followed by the extension, or the team just wouldn't do it. Like if JMO said, you can trade for me, Dallas, but I'm not signing an extension with you, the Dallas Cowboys will call the trade off. That's how tied extension and trade are with younger players. But if he got traded to, let's say, I don't know, let's say he got traded to Dallas Cowboys, for example, then, what does he do? Probably does similar numbers. If he gets traded to, let's say, the Jaguars, that's not a really good move. You'd rather him stay where he is potentially rather than go play second fiddle to BTJ with a QB situation that you're hoping is as good as the Detroit Lions has been. But I do think it falls, and, that's concerning for JMO. It's concerning for St. Brown, especially given St. Brown coming off of such a monster touchdown year. I feel like St. Brown regression is in the cards just because of the touchdown total. He will probably not be able to eclipse. Now, you could say that the Lions are not as productive in some ways efficient, and so they got to throw a lot more in the third and fourth quarter. And maybe maybe St. Brown and JMO benefit from that. And it's certainly possible, but right now it's not a good potential situation in Detroit. Detroit's not going to be better this year than they were last year, no matter what Gump tries to tell you in the comments. This right here, Niners, George Kittle, and the Niners are far apart on contract talks, and he is unlikely to report to the offseason programs per Mike Silver. Here we go. You got Brock Purdy, you got George Kittle. You like, this is insane. You're paying an old man George Kittle a big fat bag. You just paid Christian McCaffrey. How'd that work? You don't pay Christian McCaffrey elite money walking into his final season or two. Like, it's just wild. The Niners are the worst spending organization right now. I don't understand what it is. Let's see, where were we? Let's see here. Kyrie Boston, if you call in, just move on. Don't say I don't want you saying anything. You say a single word about any previous episode, I'm hanging up on you yet again. So start fresh, Kyrie. Just mother freaking call in as if you woke up on the right side of the bed, and that's it. Plain and simple. That's it. Kyrie Boston, you get one more chance at not saying weird things on the phone line, okay? Otherwise, you'll lose your chance to call in anymore. Just drop it and move forward. You hear me? Okay. George Kittle, watch the Niners give him this big fat bag. They gave Ayuk $30 million a year. That was a big waste of money. They're going to give Brock Purdy $50 million a year, or $45 to $50 million a year. That is insane. Given that he's under contract, and if you wanted, you just walk up to him and say, Brock, we're not giving it to you. You're the last pick in the draft, pal. You're under contract. This is not a year where you get to. You're not a free agent. You're not a free agent threatening to hold out. You're not going to threaten to hold out. How are you going to threaten to hold out? We'll just start Mac Jones. It's a rebuild year anyway. Oh, wait, Niner fans think they're vying for a championship, but you kidding me? Just let Brock play it out and prove himself. Give him a 5-year or a $5 million adjusted 1-year offer. Here's $5 million adjusted onto your contract. They can do that. Give him $5 million just for being Brock, just for a smile, and let him play. What are the Niners doing? How to destroy a chance of rebuilding this thing perfectly if you wanted to is not pay Brock Purdy right now. Let him prove it. And even if you overpay because of it, at least you know you're getting what you're getting. Right now, you have no clue. You just paid Ayuk $30 million under pressure. Look how that worked out. You paid CMC under pressure of him not playing. Look how that worked out. You're about to pay George Kittle under pressure of him not showing up. How's that going to work? And so George Kittle not going to show up to offseason programs. Well, guess what? Either is a man known as Brock Purdy, potentially. According to Michael Silver again of The Athletic, report is that there's some uncertainty about whether Brock Purdy and George Kittle will show up for 49ers voluntary activities. Now, they're voluntary now. What could Brock do? Voluntary is not the biggest deal, okay? But it does show a stance. You know, you'd rather see your boys show up. This is voluntary. They're not going to come. This is your leader, though. You know, you kind of want him in there. You got Ricky Pearsall coming back from the injury or the gunshot wound and all that, and now you want to just not be there for every second. It's worrisome where it could go. You know, this is telegraphing what potentially could be an issue. We'll see how it goes, but the Niners are about to blow a whole bunch of money on two players that they don't even know how long they're going to be, solid, and that goes for Brock Purdy. Zack Moss agreed to rework his final year of his contract to get guaranteed money and security in a deal done by his agent, his double agent, his two agents. Moss is recovering from a neck injury. Clearly, the team is confident in his return. This is probably the most underrated piece of news of the day, because it does give you a little solace that the Bengals are going to go all in on defense, and maybe they swing back around in the very, very late rounds of this NFL draft upcoming and grab a running back, maybe a Brashard Smith or something that's very similar to a potential Chase Brown, type of play, which is good because it means that he'll probably be there to replace Chase Brown if Chase Brown went down. And you could cuff them and they'd be a pretty good cuff together. But this is something that hints that the Bengals are comfortable giving someone guaranteed money, bringing them back. This is a kind of a sign that they may be looking to not taking a running back earlier on, like many have thought. Now, they've had a handful of top 30 visits that have been RBs, though. That's concerning. And there's a high percentage chance that when you have RBs come in as your top 30 visits, you're spending that very valuable visit on an RB, not one, but multiple. You're probably looking at taking a running back in the first handful of rounds. This isn't like a 5 or 6 round potential running back you're taking. It could be a 3 or 4 round player. But this signifies maybe they decided, okay, because this happened now, so things may have changed, and that's at least a good sign. It's not a lock by any means. J.J. McCarthy, head coach Kevin O'Connell said that J.J. McCarthy is participating in the team's off-season program with no limitations. While this is good news, and I agree it's good news, and my being hard on this situation is more about being hard on it for the Vikings and how they're handling it, not about J.J. McCarthy. This man is trying to gain confidence. He's the only legitimate quarterback on the roster, and the team refuses to name him the starter. And they don't shoot down the Aaron Rodgers news. They let it linger and simmer. That can't be good for the kid's confidence. Could he overcome it? Abso-mother-freaking-lutely. Do I think he fails because of all this? No, but it's not good. I don't understand how the coach of the year in the organization that feels as solid as the Vikings is making this decision with their quarterback. You can do this with other positions to a degree, but with your quarterback, you stand by your quarterback. And when you take a quarterback in the top 13 overall, you stand by your quarterback. You don't play games like we're keeping it close to the vest and we're gonna try and trick everybody. You don't do that. You don't say, hey, we're thinking about, we don't know that Brock Purdy's our guy. You don't say that. You don't say, are you trading Kyler? No, Kyler's 100% going to be our quarterback, is what Gannon said. Now, they could change their mind. We've heard that before. Coaches have said 100% before, 1,000% before, and then they trade a player. Happens all the time, okay? But that's what you say. That's what you say, and that's what you do until something happens that is out of your control, and you have to make a change. The Vikings are handling this badly, and it's good that for JJ, he's got no limitations. And we'll see what happens there. Okay, CJ Stroud, a guy I'm very much, I want to say fading, but I'm not on board. I'm just not. I'm not on board. CJ Stroud said that he'll be taking full ownership, running the show at quarterback this year. Why hasn't he done that yet? What do you mean, taking full? You should already be doing this. Joe Burrow did this as a rookie. That's why he's at where he's at. This is a guy, and you can come at me if you want. The phone lines will be open in a minute. I'm all about, look, I'm a sensitive man. I watch those videos where, the MD Motivator, shout out to MD Motivator, shout out to Jimmy Darts. I watch those videos and I get teary-eyed. That doesn't make me less of a man. I'm a man. I'm a man's man. Okay. If I'm on the field, I'm tough. I'm on the field. I'm leading men, and we're going to go out there and go to battle. You don't cry on the field. You could cry if you win a championship. I get all that, but you don't cry in the field. You stay strong. As Goggins says, you stay hard, and you are a general. People are looking to you. Caleb climbing into the stands and crying in his mama's lap. That doesn't fly with me. Forever, I will doubt Caleb. Forever, I will doubt Caleb, no matter what, because he doesn't seem like a leader of men when he crawls in his mama's lap in the stands where everybody watches, and he's not just crying, he's shaking. I'm not saying if Old Yeller doesn't die in the family, you shouldn't shed tears. You're misunderstanding me. You're misunderstanding me. There are so many reasons for a man or anybody to cry, and that's okay. Crying does not make you less of a man. But when you're a general on the field, when I say general, I mean quarterback. You don't cry. This guy's friend, Tank Dell, tore his leg up. I've seen plenty of people tear their knee up. I tore my knee up in a game. My teammates didn't ball. They had to move forward. They pat you on the head. They feel bad for you. He fell apart on the field. I don't care if it's his best friend. He tore his knee. They didn't lose him on the field. He tore his knee. It's bad. I tore my knee. It's bad. But I just don't trust CJ Stroud now. And this comment right here, take full ownership in running the show. This is not his first year. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I just don't trust CJ Stroud. I'm out. It doesn't mean I'm predicting utter unraveling and benching and, leaves the league in a year. I think he's a good talent. What he came out of year one looking like was not the player I see right now. He's got to find himself. He's got to do what he's suggesting. He's not taking ownership of anything right now. Let's see what he does. He's got to prove it to me. He's got to prove it to me before I ever draft him to be my general of my team. Cam Scataboo, NFL Networking and Rappaport reports that Arizona State running back Cam Scataboo will meet with the Lions and Titans. The Lions take him. Oh, Gump will be excited, but this would be a disaster. But, if you tried to ask me to break this down logically as a decision maker, I would say this to you. I would say Monty's not going to last forever. Monty's got maybe the one more year left before you start questioning every year he has after. So they're looking at Ben Johnson's offense and saying, I don't know how to run this. Do you know how to run this, Steve? Who's got the blueprints to this Ben Johnson run attack? Did he leave the book behind? Does anybody have the book? I know I found Arthur Smith's playbook. No, throw that away. Does anybody have the playbook here? Well, we might as well draft another guy that can replace Monty before that happens. That's probably something that they're thinking here. Now, they've got other concerns. If it's me, I'm getting Milroe before I'm drafting a third running back in a system where it's fine right now. I'm not worried about replacing Monty now. Worry about that bridge when you get there. You have a dynamic dual running back. You take Cam Scataboo, even in the third round or something, he's climbing. You're doing what the Niners did to a lesser degree, but grabbing Ricky Pearsall in the first round when you can't even use him. Or even worse, grabbing Rome Odunze in the top of the first round when you run a 2 wide receiver set. Here's Ryan Poles. That's Ryan Poles. Let's draft Rome Odunze. We did it. We got him. What a stud. Hey, Ryan. Yeah? We're running a 2 wide receiver set, my boy. We are? What do you mean? Yeah, you hired Shane Waldron as your offensive coordinator, and he runs 2 wide receiver sets. He's never run a 3 wide receiver set system. He's never even called an offensive run play. Holy shit. Why'd you let me take Rome Odunze? Now, I do like Rome this year. We'll see if they use him properly. Again, this is kind of like when I told everybody that Rome was one of my favorite players in the draft, and I didn't want him to go to Chicago. I did not want him to go to Chicago. It's supposed to be a great situation, Smitty. Caleb's going to be good. He's going to throw a lot. Even if they're bad, they'll throw a lot. I didn't want it. I didn't want it. I did not want it. I still don't want it. I'd rather have Rome Odunze somewhere else. I don't like it. It's better than the worst situations, sure. But look what's happened to Rome so far. Going to this best situation a quarterback's ever been handed. Don't give me any of that crap. Don't give me any of the, no, this year's going to be different. Show me. Show me. But Scataboo, I don't like him with the Titans or the Lions. These are probably not his landing spots, though, if I had to guess. But because he's going to have such a late draft value, his capital is in round 3-4, there's a real good chance that he goes anywhere. He could land anywhere. That's the risk you take when you're, drafting early or trying to project things with a player as good as Scataboo, but with late draft capital. He could land anywhere. Round 4, round 5 value, a team with a good running game and a good running back could still take him. That's why you're seeing a team like the Lions looking at him, because he could project. If he falls late, the Lions would be in. But I'm expecting Scat to climb the board a lot as the running backs get pulled up from this first round. As we have a Jeanty and Hampton and maybe a Henderson go all in round number 1. I think 3 RBs go in round 1. I think that ultimately affects the dynamic and value of the RB in the rookie draft. I'm going to the phone calls. Phone lines are open. Dial in, dial in, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
let's do it. Dial into the show and let's discuss all these players that we've been discussing on screen here. Specifically, try and bring up, as you call in, one of these topics first before we get into your selfish needs, which I do want to help you with as well. But let's attack some of the news-related items before we do anything, if possible. So phone lines are open. Dial in, dial in, dial in. Kyrie Boston, you're live. What can I do for you today?
Oh, man, can't wait for this draft. This is excited, man. I think Jeanty's going to get picked up by, I think the Giants might grab him, man.
50 gifted, man, by BBQ. Yeah, you think the Giants are grabbing him. That's right. That's your spot, the Giants. Jonathan said, hey, Smitty Dynasty, the 1.1 are Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, or the 1.1 are Kyron and Corum. Jonathan, I made this abundantly clear, and I don't expect you to see everything I produce, but I'm just letting you know. Jeanty by a country mile. Like, this is not even close, bro. You could give me Breece Hall, the 1.5, the 1.6, the 1.7, and I'm still taking the 1.1 just to really emphasize that, my boy. So just to make sure, and I appreciate your super chat. Thank you for bringing the Dynasty question. Keep the Dynasty question coming. I like the Dynasty questions, bro. They're fantastic. BBQ, every day is smoke season for BBQ. That's right, you're barbecuing. But this year's pre-draft noise might be the smokiest of them all. We will find out how much of this is yeah, bro, there's so much there's so much smoke and made up stories right now. And the worst part is it's not even team driven anymore. The smoke season used to be a combination of, I don't know, teams like initially, like 5 years ago, smoke season without social media. It was a team trying to throw smoke up in misdirection because they were going this way. But it's morphed into more being misinformation with the smoke on top of it. Like, it's almost not fair to call the lies and manipulation and made up sources from these BS Mickey Mouse news aggregates that pretend to be a news aggregate because they've got a lot of X followers. You know, we somehow climbed to 20,000 subscribers. I don't know how I did it in my mom's basement, but now I'm a news source. And these people throw this crap out without any sort of source at all anymore. They don't even say per source. They just tell you now. Like, a lot of teams, like as if they're the source. I'm so big, I don't even need to put a source anymore. You're not. You're a Mickey Mouse creator. If you're not Rappaport, Schefter, or one of these other big name people, we even give a guy like Breer or Diana Rossini or a little bit of cred, right? And a little bit of leeway. But unless you're a big name person like that, you're not coming up with it. Like, you know, blah, blah, blah news, blah, blah, NFL, blah, on X, blah, blah, blah rumors and news. Those people don't get anything before anybody else. Nothing. Never. Never. And so it's frustrating to me because smoke season really has become misinformation season by all these damn, I'm a professional, I have no journalism degree or any sort of background in sports, creating out this content, and people just eat it up and gobble it up. So mixed with smoke season. So now, BBQ, we got fires and smoke and misdirection, and it's just crazy. Appreciate your super chat, BBQ. You're 100% right. All right, Kyrie Boston. What else? What else you got, guys? Call in. And thank BBQ for dropping 50.
I was going to say something about that Milroe take you had earlier about him going to the Lions. I really like that idea right there. I think Goff is washed up, man.
Well,
I was thinking about that today. I was like, the Lions really need a quarterback.
I don't know if he's washed up yet. Like, that's hard to say that because he hasn't.
But he's pretty much close.
But I think he's going to fold a little bit. So, yeah, he's going to turn back into the Goff that we saw many years ago, potentially. Not for sure, but potentially. At least he'll regress back to a closer version to that than he is to an elite player. You know, Goff is more closely to a average quarterback than he is a great quarterback. And I think this will show. He lost his slipper. His glass slipper fell off. And Ben Johnson's not there to return it. Ben Johnson took that slipper, no pun intended, right over to Caleb Williams. And it's a perfect fit. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me get these callers in here real quickly. Let me merge everybody. Everybody be quiet and hang out real quickly while I merge everybody. All right, everybody on the phone line, please stay muted real quick. Thank you for the gifted memberships, BBQ. BBQ dropping straight utter fire.
Give me $50 holler. Like that by the brother, Smitty. Give me $50.
All right, mute yourself, Kyrie Boston. Let me come back to you in a second. Let me head on over to, let's see, who was first? I think it was Matthew from 208. You're live. What can I do for you?
Yes, it's Matto.
What's up,
Quick
Matto?
question for you, and then I got to bounce. Not much, my friend, not much. Quick question, I got to bounce.
All right, I won't keep you.
So Stroud, we talked a little bit about Stroud, and my question is Stroud versus Sanders this next year, either with the Giants or the Saints. Who do you like better?
Stroud or Sanders? Okay, so Sanders with the Giants or with the Saints or Stroud? I think for year one, like Stroud's safer, and he'll still produce decent numbers, but you just got to ask yourself, like what's his ceiling anymore? Like if I'm trying to do a dynasty take on this, it's easier for me to say Sanders in New York. Give me Sanders. Sanders in New Orleans, I think he could end up being like Stroud, never finding his full potential if they don't build around him. Because New Orleans is kind of like the Bears in some ways. I feel like they don't know what they're doing half the time. And the fact that this team even thought Derek Carr was their answer shows either they're inept or they're lying to everybody and they're trying to take a dive, which could be the case too. But at the end of the day, it's like this is not a serious team that's going to potentially be taking a dive. So I would say at the end of the day, my answer is if Shador goes to the Giants.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
All right. If Shador goes to the Giants long term, I like that a lot better than Stroud. I just do. You can say what you want. It's going to be proven. Just like my Penix Jr. take, especially before the national championship game, and especially after he supposedly botched the national championship game. I stood strong on it. I didn't care. The wind blows. People's opinions go all over the place. Achan's going to get hurt. He's so horrible. Kyron's not going to hold on to the job. The wind's blowing pretty heavy a lot of the time, and I just got to stay strong. I find my true north, and I just keep going toward that, and the haters, I don't care. So if you think Stroud in New York would be bad, then I don't care. But he might not go to New York, so we got to anticipate that he's an equal, never finds his real balance or gets his footing in a bad place, kind of like I feel about Stroud right now. And I'm not saying Stroud's in a bad place, but I mean, has anybody checked the offensive line in Houston? I mean, that's probably the greater problem of anything. So I'm not a big fan of this Houston Texan team this year. And I'm definitely not on the Mixon train. We'll talk more about that later in a different show. But okay, thank you, Matto. Appreciate you, my boy. We'll see you later. All right, Matto. We've got the 651 caller. What's your name and where are you calling from? Is this David?
Yeah, this is Dave, man. I've been bleeding purple for about 50 years now.
Okay. All right.
What are the chances?
I'm going to check with the doctor.
That the Vikings...
Okay. Go ahead.
What are the chances the Vikings get a guy like Samson at 24?
No.
I mean,
zero.
No, our running back room is an absolute mess, if you ask me.
Now, if you ask me, if you ask me the question, not to interrupt you, but let me just save you from wasting your breath. If you ask me the question, what's the odds of Vikings taking Dylan Samson in round 3 or 4? Or I mean, if his value climbs in the next couple days, which is certainly possible, like 2 or 3, like I could say, 2 is very low, 3 is getting better, 4 is very good, but 24, no. Okay. He does not have first round grade. The only 3 running backs that have a first round grade are Trey Henderson, who I've talked about all offseason and told everyone he was going in round 1 when everybody said he's not. And now everybody's running their mouth about Trey Henderson. I got a bold take. Trey Henderson could go in round 1. Oh, I'm so bold. I watched the fantasy football show after I go live and I'm copying him. So Trey Henderson, first round grade. Hampton locked in to a first round grade, top of the first round. And Jeanty should be number 1 overall, but he'll probably fall because teams don't know what they're doing. But no, Dylan Samson is one of my favorite players in this draft, but he's not going at 24 overall. But he would be sneaky. We talked about his landing spot being with the Vikings as a sneaky future spot. It would be a cloudy move at first because Aaron Jones is not relinquishing that starting job until he gets hurt or fails. And Mason was traded for a reason. My guess is they maybe take someone like that, or Brashard Smith, or RJ Harvey, or a Blue, somebody like that late, bro. Somebody that falls really late, but then the draft capital's low. They traded for Mason for a reason, So I don't know. They'll take somebody, but it's not going to be anywhere high. The Vikings are not taking a running back early. Why would they?
I don't trust that running back room. That's why.
Well, I mean,
I just don't trust it. I think the Packers got rid of Aaron Jones for a reason.
He was great last year.
And I think we're going to find out. He was fine. He was serviceable.
He was more than serviceable.
He was very good last year.
He was more than serviceable. Hold on one second. I'm going to get Bruce on here. Hold on. Let me merge this call here. He was more than serviceable, bro. Like you're a little hard on Aaron Jones. I will say this though, like you're not wrong to think the drop off is here. He's an old man. He had something to say today at the podium when he was talking to the press, and they said, "What do you think about being, in your 30s?" And he said, "Age is a number. The only difference is something about like now you're going and getting older, older chicks or whatever." Like so, he's now no longer is he MILF hunting. He's now just dating women his own age, and it sounds crazy to him. But Aaron Jones, look, I'll pull up his stats and put them on screen. But I don't know how you could say that Aaron Jones was serviceable last year. He was really, really good when he was on the field. I just think he was hurt.
Well, yeah. I went to the games. I saw him in person. I saw the way he runs. He's fine. He's great. He just didn't have that. He just doesn't have that anymore. He doesn't have it like he did 5 years ago with the Packers.
Bro, he had 1138, 4.5 a carry, 5 TDs on the ground, 51 receptions, 408 receiving, and 2 touchdowns. He had 7 touchdowns and over 500, almost 1,600, or 50, over 1,500, almost 1,600 yards. That's a lot of production.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I'm not saying this year it's going to repeat. I'm just saying you're talking about like, yeah, he was serviceable. Last year he was great. This year I do believe that Mason's coming in at the right time. There's a reason you see Aaron. So I think you're misunderstanding me. There's a reason Aaron Jones is not somebody I'm drafting this year. He will be one of my avoids. So we're on the same page. I was just correcting your statement. Your statement was he was serviceable. He didn't do well last year. He did great last year. But he will probably get hurt. Mason's he's a midseason monster for a reason. So we're on the same page into thinking that Aaron Jones might be inching toward not seeing those numbers anymore. And I'm also on your side. I'm also on your side about go get a Dylan Samson, go get a Blue or a Smith, a Brashard Smith, or someone of that caliber running back later that's gonna fall. Some of these guys are gonna fall. And then you have a safety.
If you've been a Vikings fan as long as I have, you get paranoid. You don't trust the process. You support them. You go to the games, but in the back of your head, you're thinking, "Oh, is this the right running back room? Is this everything else seems great,
bro?" You got to worry about your QB room. Like it's astonishing to me that the only thing you're talking about is other things that have been pretty solid. You don't even know who your quarterback is. Why? Because your coach in your organization won't even name your quarterback the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I know that sucks. I get it.
That's
I agree.
Right now, you need
that
to
bothers
develop.
me, right? But that's almost one of those things that's so bad that you just, you're looking to our tight end, our offensive line is coming together. We got good wide receivers, and the quarterback thing is not resolved. So I don't even think about it. I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do, but the running back room, I don't know.
Hang tight, David. Mute yourself. You could stay on the line if you got another question. I'll come back around. Cap says, I found Smitty 13 months ago, and I haven't been to another creator. He's the GOAT. Thank you, Caps. Appreciate your amazing comment. Let me see if I have any other super chats. I think I'm all caught up on those. BBQ, thanks again for the 50 gifted memberships. If you got a gifted membership from BBQ, this man's going to Jupiter. He's going places. His stock is up. Make sure you invest in BBQ stock because he continues to thrive. Him and New Age have been just dropping fire lately. Okay, let me go over to Travis. You're live, Travis, and then I'll go over to Bruce, and then back over to Kyrie, and then maybe David wants to go another round. Go ahead, Travis. You're live.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? So the reason why the Vikings went and got Mason is because they only have 4 draft picks. They don't have a second. They don't have a fourth.
Yeah.
So they needed to make sure that they got that guy, at least behind Aaron Jones, because
and
they probably can't afford to use their first rounder on.
Yeah. Travis is probably right. I bet you the running back they bring in is signed right when the draft's over. Undrafted free agent, boom. Like Brashard Smith doesn't get. I mean, I think he probably will get drafted, but just examples of those running backs. Brashard Smith, they're someone around that caliber.
Good ones too.
Or Jarquez. So if Jarquez doesn't get drafted for whatever reason, then boom, the Vikings scoop him up. So because they don't have a draft pick, I think that is right. I think they have a running back, but I think you were more correct that it'll probably come from. Like the Niners do that all the time. They scoop up 3 or 4 really pretty decent talents. Niners are really good at that when they throw a nice thing out there. Thank you, Keith, who said Smitty's the best out there, hands down, no question. Thank you, pal. All right, go ahead, Travis. Continue. My bad.
So on JMO, it'll be interesting because, you have to think they want a second rounder for him, right? If they're moving him.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. I mean, they got to consider it, but if they don't shoot it down, that's very telling. They're not shopping him, but they're listening. And there's a reason because they might not want to give him a big fat deal.
Oh, sure if they do, then you have to think they have a couple receivers they got their eyes on because I don't see how you can. Granted, their offense is loaded, but I don't see how you can take a guy like JMO out of that after losing Ben Johnson, like you mentioned, and be able to, there's already concern that they could take a little hit with Ben Johnson gone. So I wonder who they have their eyes on. If it would be a pick 60, or if they get someone down the line they like.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, we will be live all day during the draft on Thursday, and then I'll be.
Sure.
I'll be here, my normal show on Friday as well, but like doing all kinds of uploads, and I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do it yet. I was thinking about doing individual videos on each player, but I might just do running backs day 1, quarterbacks day 1, just so I make sure I get through it, and then I could always retouch up everything. That way I make sure I get, it's going to be like 4 videos anyway. So like that'll be long. That'll be enough videos to try and throw up on the YouTube channel all Friday long. But starting Friday, you'll get my analysis of the Thursday round 1. You'll get it early morning. I'll have my breakdown of pretty much all of the entire draft, through multiple videos. So expect to be here all Thursday long during the draft. All day Thursday, round 1. All right, go ahead, Travis. What else you got? And then I'm going to head over to Bruce.
Yeah, and then I might have missed. I missed a couple minutes at the beginning. So if you did, just I'll let me know and I'll rewind and catch it. But if the Jaguars went in the direction of Jeanty, which I wouldn't rule out, just because Cohen's there, it's a new coaching staff and stuff. And they have a ton of picks too, so they can kind of do what they want. Do you think it would be ETN that went and they over what's his name? I don't know why I'm blanking.
Bigsby.
Other running back.
Tank.
Bigsby. You think they'd move ETN?
Yeah, they wouldn't move Bigsby because he's cheaper and they have him longer. But yeah.
And if so, just real quick, who do you think would be a good landing spot for ETN?
I don't know.
The usual suspects, Cowboys, and
I think we just got to wait until. I don't know that we're gonna have a good feel of that yet. If I had to guess right now, I mean, who's gonna trade for him and give him a big extension? He's 2025. He's unrestricted free agent next year, just to make triple sure. So here's his contract. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be his 5th year. I think there's a chance that I don't think the Broncos are in the cards, no D-Town, because they're going after a running back pretty hardcore, and I think that once the draft's over, they'll have him. And I don't know that Etienne's going to be a draft day trade. He could be. It's certainly possible, that they're keeping physicals under the radar. There have been players that have been traded on draft day that their physical, I think Hollywood Brown was one of them, traded to the Cardinals, and his physical was performed in secrecy. No one knew about it, which was crazy. But I think Etienne, like, if I had to guess now, he's probably going to go somewhere where it's not as like clear cut as you think. Like the Vikings as that one, or the Buffalo Bills, or the Washington Commanders would be great. But Washington Commanders,
Houston or Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh could be the Chargers. The Chargers, I have a feeling, as much as I like Najee Harris, I have a feeling that Najee Harris is going to get kicked in the sack on draft day.
Yeah, so I really feel like that.
I think that Jaylen Warren and Najee are going to get kicked right in the sack. I think the Texans could be interested in Etienne. The Bengals want a running back, but they don't want to use their draft capital. Maybe they trade for Etienne with a future draft pick. Keep in mind that Etienne will be able to be had for a future draft pick because the Jaguars will be in desperation mode and they'll just sell him off. So you're not going to get
the Jaguars have 10 picks, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to.
They don't want to.
Yeah, you're not going to get a team to be like all like uptight about giving up a draft. I want a 2025 draft pick. Like the Jaguars might say, we'll take a 2026 pick because we've already got Jeanty. Our cards. We're showing you our cards right now. But I don't know. I don't know it's going to be the most amazing landing spot. I think all the teams that need a desperation running back, like the Cowboys. We like Javonte, but I don't know that I believe the Cowboys believe in him. Broncos, Commanders, the Raiders, the Bears, they're all drafting one of these free rookies. Essentially free. You know what I'm saying? So where's Etienne going to go? I don't know. It's possible that they trade him in the middle of round 1 though, or in day 2, they figure it out. He flies and does a physical and goes quickly. Who knows? It's possible. And then the team that needs a running back is going to grab somebody else. But we saw what happened with the Niners when the Niners completely botched the Ricky Pearsall pick. I'm sorry to be so hard on the Niners, but the Eagles have owned the Niners for a while now. And the Eagles worked the Niners over like a puppet on draft day last year. It was unreal to watch this team, the Philadelphia Eagles, outmaneuver the Niners at every turn. While it was initially starting less than 15 minutes before the NFL draft started, they announced the A.J. Brown extension, which gave them so much guaranteed money that it screwed the Ayuk market up. And then I predicted before the draft began, we're like, oh my God, breaking news. The Eagles have extended A.J. Brown. That screws with Ayuk's current contract that's set up right now to be traded. Like Ayuk was being shocked. And the valuation of Ayuk just got reset by A.J. Brown's guaranteed money. And then I said, I predict Debo will get traded instead. And it ended up happening a year later. But the reason for that is because now Debo was more expendable. And, it just, and then what do we hear immediately before the I think top 10 picks were even assigned? It was Debo now might be more likely to be traded or equally to Brandon Ayuk. Then you get down to the end of round 1 and the Bills keep moving because the Bills are negotiating with the Niners about Debo or Ayuk, but I think more so Debo. And so the Bills moved down a couple spots or one spot, and then they didn't get a deal done. So the Bills moved down again to the top pick of the second round so that they could work all night long because round 1 closes. After round 1, it's a day later, round 2. People that don't know, round 1's the only thing that happens on day 1. So it gave the Bills and Niners ample time through the midnight hours to try and work out a trade. And then what do the Bills come out and do? Draft Keon Coleman instead of trading for Debo. So when the Niners were on the clock in the first round, they anticipated they were trading one of their wide receivers to Buffalo. And so they drafted Ricky Pearsall instead of Cooper DeJean, who was the best pick by far and away sitting there for the Niners. And the Niners even turned in the card practically because they announced it everywhere and then they changed it. The card ended up saying Ricky Pearsall. Anyway, it was such a debacle without Adam Peters. All right, Travis, hang tight real quickly. Let me get the super chat out and then I'll go over to Kyrie Boston real quick. Keeper League, 3 keepers. I'm keeping Kyron for a 10th. Keeping Kyron for a 10th. BTJ for a 9th. Should I keep JD5 for an 11th or Neighbors for a 4th? If it's a 1 QB, you have to keep Neighbors. Mainly because you can draft JD5 back. And you might not have keeper value based on where you draft him, and that sucks. But JD5 in a 1 QB is going much later than Neighbors. You just have to play that smart. Neighbors is a top 5 or 6 keeper, bro. So you're getting him in the 4th round. That's a steal. You can still draft JD5 back. If you throw Neighbors back in, you're not likely to draft him, get him back. He's going to get taken like that. That's how you determine most of the time. I mean, unless you don't believe the player, you think they're going to bust or something. When you're deciding what player to keep, which player can you more likely draft back than the other? That tells you the valuation. You take JD5 in a 1 QB over Neighbors, you're completely missing the value. However, if this is a super flex, which it can't be because you would never have gotten JD5 in the 11th last year in a super flex, then you of course would. JD5 is the number 1 overall keeper in a super flex. But yeah, 1 QB, you got to throw JD5 back. Just make sure you get him again or get somebody else. But it's a good question. A lot of other people ask, but it's the easiest answer in the world. All right, Kyrie Boston, you're live. Final thoughts, and I'll be back tonight.
I was going to say, I have a couple of thoughts I wanted to say. I wanted to say about the Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. I think I would probably think it'd be a sneaky move to draft them both. You know what I mean?
Could be, yeah. I mean,
like
I could
to
think
have both of your, at least your flex or running back too.
Yeah, if you get in a bind, it's not bad. I don't know that would be a goal of mine, but yes, I would definitely, because here's the problem. Like, let's say you're drafting an underdog draft right now, and then they take that running back we're talking about, or then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got 2 of them, and I might not even have the starter in week 8. But it's certainly a good maneuver if you get stuck somewhere.
But they both kind of free in the Grandma League that I be, ESPN.
Yeah, you can definitely.
They're both kind of free.
And if you can, your ESPN, if you get to draft after the NFL draft too, you're probably not going to go up that much in value. I don't think anybody's sitting here going, I wonder, are the Vikings going to take another running back? And then once they don't, everyone's like, oh my God, Aaron Jones, let's rise him up 3 rounds. Like, you're still going to get this value and have more clarity. So it's possible. All right, your second comment?
Oh, my other thing was, I was going to say that I think that Travis Etienne might go to the Browns if they take Jeanty.
Possible.
If Jacksonville takes Jeanty.
That's a good spot.
It's a good spot. Or to the Raiders.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Or the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, Etienne and the Raiders.
The Raiders might need him.
System could be okay. I think they probably want a different RB, but it's possible. I think Pete Carroll would have. What?
That wasn't me.
Okay. All right, Kyrie Boston.
Okay.
All right, later, Kyrie. Call in tonight. Later. Who keeps talking over? What are you saying?
I was saying the Patriots might go for Jeanty. It might be a big shakeup in the draft. I think the Patriots might have a hard look at Jeanty.
You're pulling at the heartstrings of Travis here. I don't know.
I don't.
Well, because
they will.
He loves him, but like, they could be flying in under the radar. I would do it too. I wouldn't tell a soul. I wouldn't even tell Jeanty that we're drafting him. I wouldn't tell anybody. But I don't think
that would be such a good young team.
But I don't think the Patriots. I don't mean this in the most negative way, but I don't think they're that coy. I don't think they're that crafty.
Mean it in the most negative way.
Yeah,
deserve it.
Yeah, they're not that smart, bro. Not right.
All right.
But hey, anything can happen. New York could take like I keep saying, every team in the top 6 should be drafting Jeanty Not anybody else, except for maybe a team like the Browns that want to take Hunter. He's so dynamic. I'm fine with that. But Jeanty should be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And the Titans are making a grave mistake not taking Jeanty. The Browns are making a grave mistake if they don't take Jeanty or Hunter. The Giants are making a grave mistake not taking Jeanty. The Patriots are making a grave mistake not taking Jeanty. Just as the Jaguars at 5 would be making a grave mistake not taking Jeanty. So my stance is exactly what you're saying. I just haven't heard a single whisper lately about, personally, that like people are predicting it because they want it. Like a Mickey Mouse podcast, Patriot podcast is like, all right, they should go Jeanty, and then somebody picks it up, someone leaves out the comments, and they rewrite it the way they want, and now all of a sudden you got one of these other Donald Duck resources that pretend they're news aggregates, and they just say it like this, bro. They don't even say source anymore. They just say the Patriots are considering Jeanty at the 4, and they're just making it up. They're just flat out making it up. It's mind-boggling to me. And the part that frustrates me is they get away with it. One comment out of like 50 call it out. Everyone's just like, oh, great, my Patriots. I love it. This is great news. It's like, what are we doing back there? Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand this age of everyone is there's no gatekeepers in content, which is absolutely amazing. Okay? It's fantastic. It's the best thing ever. Like, this show could be bigger than ESPN ratings. We could get more views on this show than ESPN in 1 or 2 more years. I really believe in this show that much.
Way better. This show's way better than ESPN.
You know what? You know what's holding this show back is we're a fantasy football show. If I was just an NFL show, we would be bigger than ESPN, guaranteed, within 2 years. It holds the audience back a little bit because people don't realize how much football we talk. We talk a lot of football. So I could, if I renamed it, which I'm not, because this is what it is. I've thought about starting another channel or taking, the Dynasty channel and re-maneuvering it into the news, but then it would just take away from this show, and I don't really want to do that, and I don't need to do that. Like, I'm fine with the growth we have. It's amazing. The show's great. Don't try and fix what isn't broken. But my point is, I love that there's no gatekeeper anymore. You don't have to be on CBS in order to be big. You don't have to break through. Even the music industry, even better. You don't have to be with a record label. You could go on TikTok and become a star overnight. I love that. I do love it. I support it. What I can't stand, though, is when people pretend to be journalists when they're not. That's the only thing I care about. If you want to be some talking head news, like rumor person, then at least be honest about it. But we have so many of these news outlets that pretend to be connected, and they lie about their source. Someone's telling me, no one's telling you anything. No one's telling you anything. If you're not a well-connected NFL player that has a second phone, and that second phone is interrupting your family's dinner every single night, and you're running over to handle this because you're getting messages from agents and things like that, yeah, the Rappaports, even the Rossinis to a lesser degree. I think Rossini breaks very little. But Rossini, like, even those people, Greer, but they're still connected enough that they could very well have information. But these other people that are just a faceless page, and they act like, and they've grown, they've gotten big because people are gullible to consume it. But it is wild to me how many people will just come out and say the Patriots are considering drafting Ashton Jeanty, and they don't even say per source anymore. They act like they're the source. per me, in my mommy's basement, when my mommy's getting me a hot pocket, warming it up.
Hi, I'm worried William, and my mommy just warmed me up a hot pocket, and I've never even talked to a hot chick.
Okay, Kyrie Boston, final thought. Oh, he's already gone. Let's see, David, final thought. Then I got to go over to Bruce, and I got to go over to the 812 caller. Go ahead, David, final thought.
Okay. Smitty, something way off the thing, but why has Shedeur Sanders dropped so far since the first time we started talking about him?
Because people are more
just like a bullet point.
Because people are deceptive. People hate Deion Sanders. People hate Deion Sanders so badly that they they poison all of the information about his kids. They act like Shador's cocky and arrogant. They act like NFL teams are saying this when, honestly, I don't believe half of those reports that say that NFL teams are really worried about how arrogant he is. He is one of the most well-mannered kids, according to a lot of other reports and people that have genuinely run into him. Limo drivers that have transported him from one event to another have come out and said, look, there's this hatred toward Shador Sanders is wrong. He's the most well-mannered person I've ever driven to an event in my life. And I was even over listening on the conversations that I shouldn't have been listening to. And he was the one that was calm, cool, collective. And this is who he is. Just because he's confident, confidence is great. Your quarterback's got to be a little bit diva. You can't have him. And I said this about Bijan. Your running back too. Bijan was a pushover as a rookie. And I sent him on a couple laps on this channel. We sent him on a big fat lap on this channel several times because Bijan was an absolute pushover.
Take a lap.
Arthur Smith didn't use him. He goes straight to Instagram stories and say, so grateful for today's win that I wasn't a part of. So grateful that I'm now the third running back on the depth chart in terms of goal line touches. He had no dog in him at all. No dog in him at all. And you don't want that from your quarterback, your running back. And thank God Bijan's got the dog in him now. But, I mean, I couldn't believe Bijan. It's despicable. Look, be grateful. I understand. But, like, you can't be grateful in the ways he was being grateful as if he was a part of something amazing. They left him out. So, the Shador nonsense, bro, he's a good quarterback that could be not just good. He could be really good. I don't know I would ever call him elite, but I would never say he couldn't be. I would not bet against it. I just wouldn't bet on him being elite. Top 5, that's hard. But to be better than Goff, to be 7 to 10 in the NFL, to be better than Brock Purdy, someday he certainly could be. Now, his landing spot, unfortunately, is going to have a lot to do with whether that happens, though, just like anybody, man. Kurt Warner would have never been anything. Tom Brady would have we never know Tom Brady's name if he didn't fall in the perfect situation where a team believed in him, a coach believed in him, and he got a shot and he kept the shot. You know, he could have easily been yanked. At any moment, who knows what a Tom Brady would have become. You know, so I'm not saying Shador's Tom Brady. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just merely saying that just because I like Shador now doesn't mean that a year from now I'm going to give two shits about somebody coming in and trying to play gotcha with me and say, Shador busted. You liked him. You kept pumping him up. He could fail. Everyone can fail. Landing spot is everything for some of these guys right now that are not matured yet, haven't blossomed yet. Look at Bucky Irving. Would we be talking about Bucky Irving if he didn't luckily land in a Tampa Bay system where they believed in him and they used him? This is what football is. This is how the NFL is. This is how fantasy is. And there's no gotcha with this kind of conversation. Shador could bust 100%. It's a possibility. 100% it's a possibility. And it's 100% possibility that he could be something special. It all depends on where he goes. But to I
think he will be. Yep. I agree 100% on Shador.
But to your concern, this infection of negativity, it might have pushed him out of the Giants landing spot because that's how dumb Joe Scheinbox is. And Joe Scheinbox might have drafted him if the negativity wasn't as great. Because now he's worried about failing. He's worried about making the wrong pick. Everybody's seeing Shador's not going to be the guy. I can't take him. What if he's not the guy? Then I'm gone. You know, I need to draft the guy that everybody loves so that if it doesn't work out, everybody else felt the same way. I'm good. That's what Joe Scheinbox is about. So that's why I'm worried about this situation not being what it really should ultimately be. And the hatred is out of control. The hatred, the doubt about Travis Hunter is so stupid. It's dumb, bro. All right, got to go. Appreciate you.
I totally agree. All right, Smitty.
All right, call him tonight. Let's go over to Bruce. You're loose, baby.
Hey, Smitty, I got a question about Scataboo going to the Lions.
Scat.
Do you think with Scataboo going there, do you think they're going to try to trade Monty if they do draft him?
Nope. I mean, anything is possible, Bruce. But you know, if you would have called me and told me and said, Smitty, do you think during the pandemic that the NCAA would cancel the tournament? I would have said, you crazy? Anything can happen, my guy. Anything can happen. There was so much. That was probably the wildest thing I've ever seen in terms of like being asked a question about something. Like, think about how much money was on the line in the NCAA tournament. Like, they'd never get canceled ever. I blame it all on what's his name? What's that guy's name that caused it all in the NBA? Huh? The NBA player. What's his name? Let me merge this color here. But anyway, the guy that touched the microphone like this when he walked off, and then he ended up having it. I don't use the word because they always grab that word and they put this, like, you know, they control the advertising around it, around the pandemic. But what was that guy's name? Somebody help me out.
I'm trying to think. I don't
Rudy
know.
Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert. Sorry. Hey, wait. Sorry. I'm just now getting back. What's the NBA or what's the NBA?
Don't worry about it. All right. Let me go over to Bruce. What else you got, real quick, Bruce? You said Scataboo.
Yes, it's Scataboo with the Lions. You should shot it down.
Yeah,
if they would trade Monty, if they drafted him.
I don't think they're going after him. I think that the Lions are doing their due diligence. If he were to fall in the draft, we'd be looking at somebody that they would just take, but they're not going to grab him early. And I think he probably goes in round 3 or 4, not round 4 or 5. You know, could he fall to 4? I mean, anything's possible. But if he went to 4 and a team didn't overvalue him and say, look, we're grabbing him before anybody else. And keep in mind, don't think you know where Scataboo's going. People come in here all the time and go, he's not going before in round 3. He's so dumb. So don't listen to this guy. He says Scataboo's going around 3. I'm not saying Scataboo's going around 3. I'm saying he could. I'm saying the Niners took mother freaking Ricky Pearsall in round 1, and he was nowhere near a round 1 graded wide receiver. So could the Niners grab Scataboo really early? They're very, very linked to Scataboo, and I hope they don't take him. But I do not think, Bruce, that the Lions are going to get Scat unless he falls really far in the draft and he tumbles. Then anybody could take him. Anybody could take him. The freaking Falcons could take him. Like, if he's a 5th rounder, who cares? Grab him. You could trade, like you said, you could trade Monty. I'm not saying they're planning on that, but I don't think they would. I think they're scared to death to touch anything. This is like, you know, let me ask you, Bruce, if you're the mechanic and your name's Ben Johnson and you're running the shop and you're the only one that's looked at these engines and you've been keeping everything afloat, and you get ripped from the mechanic, you know, room, and you're like, next up, little Bobby Boucher. He's number 2. He's been interning underneath Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson didn't let him lift the hood. You walk over to the hood and you lift it up. Are you taking parts out of these engines? I don't think so. I think that nobody's touching anything. They're like, let's just flip the switch. Let's hope Monty and Gibbs still work. let's ask Goff, what do we do next, Goff? And Goff's gonna be like, I don't know. I'm the one that's been, I'm the blind being led by Ben Johnson. Now I'm supposed to take control. I don't know. All right, Bruce, call him tonight, pal. Unless you got anything else real quick.
All right. Yeah, what do you think on Jeanty? I did like the Jeanty going to the Giants. What do you think of Jeanty getting drafted by the Giants and then them drafting Milroe in the 2nd if he falls?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that a lot. I think it'd be a great plan of attack. Milroe is probably my favorite quarterback in this class in terms of the excitement factor, the hidden value. There's more risk in Milroe than there is Shador, but there's more upside in Milroe than even Cam Ward. It doesn't. We've been preaching this for a while. Everybody's starting to jump on. I don't know if you guys remember, like a month or 2 ago, when I said I like Milroe more than Darden. There's a few people in here who were like, what? Oh my god. Milroe. We've been high on Milroe for a while. Milroe and Joe Milton remind me a lot of each other, because I think they're seriously data players that got tremendous skills that we've never really seen in the size and frame and athleticism of the player. There are so many people that look at Milroe and say, this guy's Michael Vick but in a monster body. And people that don't agree or blow that off like that's a stupid comment, they aren't paying attention, or they've already dug their heels in so deep they're not going to listen no matter what he does. They're already all in on hating him. That's the one thing I always try and train people on. If you walk away from anything from this channel that I can teach you, is adjust and adapt. Don't hang on to your predictions or what you said, or you're going to miss value. Be bold enough and strong enough and confident enough to go, you know what? I'm changing my mind on this one. People are so afraid to do that because they put themselves out there. They even in one comment that no one even read, there'll be people like, oh, I already said it in the comments. No one even saw it. No one cares. Change your mind. Who gives a shit? Change your mind. All right, Bruce calling tonight. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Hello?
Gump 801, and then over to the 857 caller. Gump, you're live.
I just want to say everybody can have a bad day, no matter who you are. And Ben Johnson had a bad day when he let JMO throw that pass, and we were out in the first game of the playoffs. But he never came up to the podium and owned up to whatever happened. That lost us the year.
So you're here to crap.
When you're saying that Ben Johnson's so good, and he had a bad day. It wasn't a good day. He had a bad day. He never really owned up to it. Never got up there and talked about that play and JMO throw the ball and all that stuff.
Have you owned up to your bad calls? Have you owned up to your bad calls and some of the rants you've made on this show and gotten hung up on? Have you walked up to the podium one time and said I'm taking ownership of that? I don't think so.
Right now.
But you're sorry for what?
I get it right now.
It's too late. You don't even remember what you're saying sorry for, so you didn't own up to it. Look.
Right, you didn't.
Yeah, you can't blanket. You can't blanket statement. I'm sorry for
everything.
everything.
Can I tell you something else?
You don't get a. Yeah.
You're right. You're right about Shadur. He might be the best quarterback in this class. According to sources, he might be the best one.
Okay.
I think the Giants are probably going to grab him.
Real quick, back to your Ben Johnson.
One more thing. Smitty, do you have a mascot on your show?
You're my mascot, Gump. You and Denny are the mascots. Well, Denny's probably the closest thing to a mascot.
I thought my dog Croto could be the mascot.
No, we don't know Croto. We can't vouch for Croto. Denny is probably our mascot. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, well, I just asked him. He's a big dog. He deserves it. I spent a lot of money on him.
How much money?
He deserves to be a mascot. He's
How much money?
$14,000. It costs $14,000, that dog. $14,000.
What kind of dog is it? What kind of dog is it, Gump?
It's a full-blooded German Shepherd out of a kennel, a full-blooded kennel, full breed. Out of Blair, Nebraska.
You better be breeding this dog. You better be Gump. You better be breeding this dog if he cost you $14,000. And speaking of our mascot,
I got a discount.
Speaking of our mascot, we got Denny on the line. Denny, what's up? You're live.
Hey. What's going on? Dog.
We haven't had Denny and Gump on in a long time.
Well, hey, Smitty, can I get you a Goff jersey? That's another thing.
No, I'd burn it.
I want to get a Goff jersey, and then I'm going to wear a blue Bucky hat. You got the Bucky hat in blue?
The Bucky hat? I thought you said something else.
I want the Bucky hat. And,
Gump, you always ask me about my merch. My merch is drop shipped. I don't have them in studio here and ship them to you personally. So go to the store on the YouTube channel and you can get whatever hat you want.
Okay.
But I'm not wearing your Goff jersey.
What jersey?
I'm not wearing your Goff jersey.
What jersey I was going to get?
Hold on, Gump. Hold on. Let's go over to Denny. I got one red X on you already, Gump, because you keep interrupting. Go ahead, Denny. 14,000. Denny, do you hear?
I'm interrupting.
No,
yo,
Denny.
who
Denny, did you hear that Gump bought a $14,000 dog? A $14,000 dog.
Fine. Nobody would ever buy a $14,000 dog.
Gump would.
Go for 16. Out of North Carolina. Not even a straight back chef.
No, when I was stationed down there at Camp Lejeune as a Marine, you bought a what is happening over here? You bought a $14,000. Listen, you didn't do anything. And your dog, I hope your dog bites you. I hope your dog bites you.
Yeah, he tried to get me today when I put him out there. He went after my ankles.
Money well spent, Gump.
Real bit.
Money well spent. An untrained $14,000 dog. They couldn't even train him for you? He's a German Shepherd, Gump. I mean, those things, you can get those things at the pound. There's a lot of German Shepherds at the pound, Gump.
Smitty, if you took him for a walk, he would drag you around the parking lot.
That doesn't sound like a well-behaved $14,000 dog.
Samson.
That's not a compliment.
He's like Samson. No, he's Samson. Oh, he healed for me.
Oh, I'm
He'll
sure.
heal for me.
That's why I tried to bite you earlier. Okay, hold on, Gump. Gump, mute yourself.
He does that for fun. I let him.
Actually, Gump, final thoughts. I got to move on. This is going to take forever. I can't do it with both of you on the phone line. Gump, Denny, I'm going to say bye to each other.
Well, now remember that Goff is a top 5 quarterback last year as far as stats, and everybody's hating on him.
Well, because he lost his offensive coordinator.
You think about that too. Okay, well, the coordinators, come on, Ben Weasel, come on.
Yeah, the guy that actually rejuvenated your entire franchise. I can't believe the disrespect you have for Ben Johnson. I can't believe. I'm not saying Ben Johnson succeeds in Chicago because Chicago is like walking into a burning building without any gear on. But I am telling you that Ben Johnson is the reason that your team is playing at the level it's playing. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now, Gump?
Yeah, right. Oh, come on.
That oh, come on was the sound of a man. Kind of worried. He's kind of worried.
The Super Bowl.
Okay. All right, Gump, got to go. Appreciate you calling tonight.
See you after the draft.
Okay, Denny, hold on real quick. Let me go to the 857 caller. Has been waiting patiently. 857, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Smitty. It's Baxter.
What's up, Baxter? What can I do for you? Don't mind Denny. Don't mind. Just talk over Denny. Go ahead, Baxter.
I just want to take it a step further on Shedeur Sanders. I don't understand why the Browns are taking him at 2. Like, I love Travis Hunter, and I think they should try to get them both if they can.
Yeah.
But the Browns have pretty good receivers. Tillman's pretty good. I like
Tillman a lot.
Tillman last year.
I like Tillman a lot.
Judy's obviously really good. The corners they have, Denzel Ward, he's the number 1 corner. Like, why are they not? Shedeur Sanders is the pick at 2.
You know how good Downs did, with Flacco. It's like I like Tillman a lot, but Sanders. I really and you heard it here first. I mean, all these. God, I can't stand them. People think they're bold bringing this stuff up. Like, I swear, I don't know how many people really watch this channel. I sometimes wonder. I know that sounds arrogant, but I sometimes wonder because we crank out something and then literally like a 24-hour, 36-hour period goes by and then like 4 or 5 other people start talking up like we are. But I really believe the Browns, if I'm running this thing, I'm trading up as high as I need to for Shedeur. So I take Hunter at 2. I disagree with you because I try and get both of them. That's my end game. I know you said that, but that's what I'm trying to do. So I draft Hunter at 2. He's a can't miss player. Or I take Jeanty, but I draft Hunter at 2. And then every time a team is on the clock, let's say Shedeur falls past the Saints. Then I'm literally trying to get on the ringer with every team that's right around this 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 territory. Not just because, I'm afraid of the Colts taking him, but anybody could trade into that pick to grab him. So I think you got to get aggressive enough. You can't just assume he's going to fall into the late teens or the early 20s. But if Shedeur takes a tumble based on all this manufactured hate that is certainly driving his value down, I think if the Browns walk out with Hunter and Shedeur, you erase everything negative about Deshaun Watson. It doesn't even matter if you cut him next offseason, which I think they will, and take a massive dead cap hit. The world, even the NFL fan bases, communities, everywhere, not just Browns fan bases, but every NFL community will forgive them and say, wow, what a job. What a repair job. Hunter, Shador, they've got to make it happen. If Shador tumbles, if Shador goes to the Saints, which I firmly believe at the end of the day, he won't fall past the Saints. I don't think they're maybe they are. I don't think they're that dumb, but maybe they are. Then it becomes Cleveland time. Get on the ringer, make it happen. But I think the Saints and the Giants are still in play. And I just think that Joe Scheinbox is vulnerable and influenced enough to not take Shador. It pisses me off. I want Shador in New York. Hold on.
Yeah, I'd be worried about Joe Scheinbox taking him, but he's probably going to fall. He's more likely to fall than Travis. So.
Yeah, Sanders is more likely to go at 9 or later than to go higher. But it doesn't mean that that's not what I want. I want him going 3.
Yeah. Oh, also, the one other thing I had to say is, how do you feel about Calvin Ridley this year with Cam Morris?
I mean, as a late wide receiver, sure. As a starter in fantasy, no.
All right. Yeah.
Not, I mean, it's possible. I know he ends up having like decent stats, but I'm done with that experiment. I don't know. He's very inconsistent too. And best ball maybe, because you don't have to decide when to start him. But like Ridley is just hard. He's unpredictable. And I hate the Titans, man. That's why Cam Ward, Shador outplays Cam Ward. Milroe outplays Cam Ward as a rookie, maybe, if they're both in good spots. If they're not in good spots, then they won't. But
yeah,
all right, man.
Cam Ward's really going to a crap fest. Yeah.
All right, bro. Call back tonight. Later.
All right. See you, Smitty.
All right, Denny. Final thoughts, my boy. Hit me with it. Then we'll go over to the 812 caller.
Are we going final thoughts already? I'm just trying to say hi. Are we doing final thoughts?
Well, I mean, we're gonna be gone. We're gonna be gone here
Live for a
shortly.
while.
Yeah, we've been live for a while, Denny. I can't even hear Denny anymore. Did he cut out on the phone line or?
He's talking so. No, you can hear me.
You're really low, Denny. You're really low. You've been doing this the last couple of calls, and then you fix it, and you're really loud again. So whatever you're doing, speaker or something, it's really low. We can't hear you.
How's it now?
No. It's okay, but... All right. Denny, what can I do for you? Thank you for not crap talking me in the comments today. I appreciated that.
Would you appreciate?
That I didn't see any Smitty sucks and Smitty blocked me. You know what's funny is I forgive you, Denny. I do forgive you, but I do find it funny that you're like, you keep bringing it up, but this is like the second or third time you've done it to me. And so I'm just curious, you know, if you're I can't hear you, Denny. Denny. Oh, hey, the caller just hung up. If you want to call in, I'll help you real quickly. If you want to call back, bro, he hung up.
Oh, Smitty, so you're mad at me. So you're mad at me.
Okay, Denny, when I said we couldn't hear you earlier from whatever you were doing, why did you not just fix it like you just did right now? Why do you keep pretending that you don't know why we can't hear you? You're like taking a dump or something.
Because I don't have an iPhone. Yeah, I got a Motorola, and I just hit the speakerphone. You know, maybe I'm not as rich as all you guys, you know? I'm a mechanic. I'm just trying to work on cars. I'm just a regular guy. And, I really don't appreciate that.
Hey, Denny.
I could have fixed it.
Hey, Denny, do you like the do you like the Maverick? If I was looking into a potential, fun vehicle to add to the Smitty arsenal, you like the Can-Am, what is it? Striker? Is it Striker? Oh, a Spider? What about Spider? The Spider?
Looking for a new car?
Or the Spider? Or do you like the Maverick?
Listen, they're both not real cars.
I know. I just said fun vehicle.
Let me talk to Miss.
It's for live streaming.
I'll
It's
talk
for
to
live-
her
it's-
about
it's-
what car.
It's for the live stream. What would be more fun of a live stream on a Can-Am Spider, or no, a Polaris Spider? Sorry, no, is it Can-Am? Which one is the Spider? That's here. Let me see.
Can-Am is Spider.
Well, I thought you said I was okay, Spider.
Yeah. Can-Am, yeah.
Smitty, you're hilarious. You're hilarious.
What would you all
Is it a new car?
prefer? You're not listening to me, Denny. You're not listening. I'm getting kind of offended now. I'm literally telling you this is for live
Okay,
streaming.
I'm listening to every word you say. Tell me every word.
All right, there's this bad boy right here. Let's see here. There's this bad boy right here. This one's a little expensive though. This would potentially be. This would be tough. Okay, let me put it up. There's this one right here. This is the Maverick, the Can-Am Maverick. Okay, this bad boy is insane.
Right.
Imagine me driving around the streets of Phoenix, hopping over sidewalks, live streaming.
I see you.
Or we're gonna go three-wheeling.
Oh.
We're gonna go three-wheeling on this bad boy.
No,
Let's see here. Let me see the lineup here.
we can't rewheel.
I need
They're
to
gonna arrest us.
I need the
Go.
chat to vote on
No,
which one
it-
they like best. Where is it at? The Riker.
I like the first
Riker.
one, man.
The
That's
Riker.
kinda nice.
This is Kenny Powers, the show. Not our moderator, not our moderator, but the actual Eastbound and Down, the Kenny Powers three wheels.
Oh my God, I love Kenny
Yes.
Powers. He's found it down.
And this is what
He
Kenny.
did that to us.
This is what Kenny wrote all the time. The Riker, bro. The Riker, the three-wheel Riker.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
would
you can
this?
take 'em
Yeah,
streets,
but
right?
Smitty, I know you love Kenny Powers, and he had a goddamn arm like you.
Uh-huh.
He just had an
He could zip it.
arm.
He could zip it.
Jeez, he had an arm, but he can't.
Which
You can't register it. I don't want you to get arrested.
No.
You know what I mean?
This is
Dude,
street.
Kenny Powers
This one's
is
not
the
street.
man.
The reason why this is probably the choice. This is cheaper. This is a lot. This is half the price. This is expensive. This is like almost a car. But this one's not street legal. You got to make it street legal. You got to keep it updated to be street legal. You got to have emissions. The Riker is actually street legal. And this thing's imagine me live streaming. People like the scooter live streaming.
You
that
gotta use
Riker. I mean, can you imagine the Riker?
You're Kenny Powers. You're my Kenny Powers.
And the other thing too, Denny, hold on.
You throw a pass.
Denny, hold on a second. We're talking vehicles here.
I've seen you, Smitty. You got
Denny,
the
Denny,
arm
be careful.
of
Denny,
the
Denny,
Don.
you're 3 X's and I have to hang up on you. It's a show rule. Okay, so be careful. So the vehicle on the left will go about 20,000 miles before it potentially could crap out on you. This Striker on the right can go 50 to 70K miles. It's actual vehicle. This one's off-road. This thing will brake easier. It requires way more maintenance. What the heck? Ziggy, activate. He's turning the lights off on him.
You're hilarious. I don't think these people know how funny you are. Smitty's the funny.
Okay. All right.
Listen, either way, you're losing. That's hilarious that you're even asking me about it.
Well, you're a mechanic. I
think-
thought the funny part is you're not giving me any advice or mechanic advice. Are you just kidding? You're not a mechanic, or I'm asking you about 2 vehicles and you haven't said a word about their engines or word about their reliability. I mean, I'm coming to the expert. I thought so. I guess I'm asking a friend.
Mechanic.
I'm asking a friend.
I'm a general mechanic.
Have you never worked on
I'm
a
a mechanic. I got your back.
Okay, so tell me about the Riker. Have you heard anything about it? No? If not, that's okay.
Motion detected.
The Rikers?
Here, let's ask Kruger.
I try to be friends with Smitty. He throws me under the bus. He calls me a liar.
I'm not throwing you under the bus. Hold on. Denny, hold on. Kruger, Denny won't let me talk on my own show. Kruger, what is a better vehicle to buy for this channel so I can live stream and entertain my people? A Can-Am Maverick, a Can-Am Maverick, or a Can-Am Riker?
Hey, Smitty. Maverick. It's got more space for your gear and a smoother ride, plus it's great for off-roading if you want to mix things up. The Riker's cool, but it's more compact. If you're planning to carry
I'm not getting the answers from this guy.
Yeah, but but Kruger, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you to revise your decision because the Can-Am Riker's half the price, and I can head mount all my gear. I'm gonna have the gear on my person.
All right, if you're going for budget and a more compact, nimble setup, the Riker's a solid choice. Plus, head-mounting your gear gives you that immersive first-person vibe.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. See, Kruger. Just if I need him to say something, he'll say it, right, Krug?
You got it, Smitty. Always here to back you
up. Love my Krugmeister. All right, hey Denny, hang on a second. I got 3 red X's, so unfortunately, I got to hang up on you. That's the house rules. But call in tonight. Any final, because you haven't been here for a while, final thought. Denny, final thought.
Oh, you all gonna hang up on me? Freddy Krueger sucks, and buy a Toyota. Get a Toyota, and you'll be all right.
All right, thank you, Denny. Call in tonight, Denny. We appreciate you. Kruger, say bye to Denny.
Kruger.
Later.
Kruger. I don't like you, Kruger.
Denny says he doesn't like you, Kruger.
All good, Denny. I'm here for Smitty, and we're all part of the community. We'll catch you next time.
God, that's rude to say to Kruger. I'll be honest. Denny's a little off today. Okay, 812 caller. Very sorry about the wait earlier. What can I do for you? Then I'm going for the super chats. Then saying bye to Travis, and then we're out of here. Go ahead, 812. You're live. What's your name?
Joe. Real quick, I just had a question for Kruger, actually.
Okay.
Can you ask him about what he thinks on Milroe versus Cam Ward?
Specifically
and
what?
And who he thinks is a better quarterback?
Okay. Hey, Kruger, Joe, the current caller that's on the line right now, wants to know who's the better quarterback between Joe Milroe and Cam Ward, and why?
Hey, Smitty, between Joe Milroe and Cam Ward, I'd say it depends on what you're looking for. Milroe's got the dual threat ability, great mobility and strong arm. Cam Ward, though, is more of a pocket passer, precise and efficient. If you're building around versatility, Milroe might be your guy. If you're going for a steady, reliable arm, Ward's the pick. What are Joe's thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts? Kruger wants to know.
So I would say I'd ask him if versatility is so essential, then why aren't more quarterbacks with the legs and, athletic ability picked more often?
Yeah, I'll answer for you. Look, I mean, the bottom line is this. You're seeing quarterbacks become more mobile in the league. The question is, have we found somebody? It's hard to find somebody who's got the total package. They're the best running quarterback you could find, the best passing quarterback you can find. But they're starting to become one and the same. You look at Lamar. You look at JD5. You look at Jalen Hurts. You look at Josh Allen. We've got plenty of quarterbacks that have that versatility and mobility in the league. I think it's already proven that that's the best formula you can find. It used to be where it was like Michael Vick, and then Lamar was kind of in that bucket as well before Lamar started to develop more. But it was like you were either a really good quarterback and you compromised the passing a little bit, but it was worth it, or you're a really good pocket passer and you couldn't run at all. Now we're starting to really have, and the reason we're seeing it is we're starting to really have kids learn at a younger age to refine their passing that are very good runners. And before you know it, the whole game changes. And now that's why you see running backs, they were taught at a young age to catch the ball. You're going to start when you get into the NFL someday, son. Now you're in Pop Warner, but when you get in the NFL, they're going to ask you to be part receiver, part running back. So you start training for it. It takes a few years for it to cycle into the population. But now you're going to start seeing running quarterbacks across the board. Arch Manning is a very good running quarterback. I mean, he's probably going to be one of the best passing quarterbacks to come out of college in quite some time. It is a new trend. It just so happens Milroe's a big body guy. That's a little more rare to have that package and have him be a monster. And people doubt him only because of AR5. I almost promise you that if AR5 didn't happen, that the people that would give Milroe a shot now, and there's some that will, the people that won't would have been more likely to had they not watched AR5 fail. It's an unfortunate stereotype that does not translate.
So then what is it about? So what is it about Cam Ward then, as far as him being the unanimous overall #1 pick? Like
numbers, consistency.
I don't understand.
Huge.
I just don't understand how we can think about Milroe being better than him, and it doesn't make any sense to me because he's not. I don't know. Milroe just doesn't. He doesn't look like he has that part. Like he's not going to be better than what Michael Vick was. Like he is not going to.
Well, you don't know that.
And
you don't know that. I think the
I
odds.
don't know that, but I feel like I would take the bet on Michael Vick having a better legacy than Milroe. So
of course.
But I see what you're saying as far as the upscale and
Milroe's going
for him, but.
Bro, Milroe's maybe going to go in the first round if he's lucky. It's like you're trying to compare apples to oranges. No one's saying Milroe is the #1 top 10 overall pick. Michael Vick was, everyone knew it. Everyone wanted him. Everybody, it's a totally different level of prospect. But to suggest that he can't, did you know Tom Brady was even running his, running in the combine and even.
Well, that's the whole thing. Cam Ward, he's a pocket passer. So, who's to say that he doesn't have that, that mindset or that mentality of, what Tom Brady had, and
well, that's why he's going
his,
#1
reading
overall.
Capability,
The
pre-snap reading.
I don't know what you're asking me here, though.
Defenses.
I don't know what you're asking me here, though. Cam Ward is consensus #1 overall quarterback. Like he's getting all of that respect.
Why are you guys so high on Milroe? I don't understand.
Why must it be one or the other? Why can't it be, hey, this guy is so underrated, he's a gem of a pick for a team that doesn't even need to go get him until their second pick? Like you can take one of these Travis Hunter players and take Milroe later is better than taking Cam Ward or Shedeur and not having Travis Hunter. And Cam Ward is the most highly ranked quarterback because the class is very weak. At the end of the day, Cam Ward might be great. He could be. He's definitely the best quarterback rated in this class. No one's arguing that. I'm not saying I draft Milroe #1. I'm sneaking later into the draft to grab Milroe and taking on all the risk that you seem to hate that he comes with, but the upside's hidden. He also ran for 20 rushing touchdowns last year in one season, had 700 plus rushing yards, and still did pretty good passing the ball. But he scored so much on the ground, he didn't need to throw the amount of yards and touchdown passes that a guy like Cam Ward threw for. So it's an imbalance of stats that makes it hard to look at Milroe's numbers. But Milroe had a phenomenal throwing day during his workout. He looks really, really solid. He's way better quarterback than AR5 was when you're trying to compare these big-bodied, passing, dominant, athletic quarterbacks. He's already thought to be easily capable of being a Michael Vick runner. It doesn't mean that he'll have the legacy Michael Vick had. A lot of things have to play out, but people already assume that he has that capability that Vick had. He's got Vick's speed at this big body. He's a huge big body guy, 6'4", 250 or whatever. This is a big monster.
Yeah, he's 6'4.5".
He has no business running as fast as Michael Vick. He has no business. And if you watch his film, you ask me why I like him. Watch his film, bro. His ability to find open space like a magnet and to get the ball where it needs to be is crazy. On top of the fact that he's always looking to throw. He really is. A lot of the stuff if you look at his yards per carry, it's like in the 4 or 5 range, if I remember correctly. Because they're constantly just giving him these design runs and they're using him and no one stands a chance against him. Like he is just such a monster. So imagine when he gets into an offense where he's got weapons, he goes to play for the Steelers and has DK Metcalf. that's going to be unstoppable. He's going to be really, really good, I think. Now, is there risk? Yeah. But like it seems like you got a problem to say that he's a sleeper that could be quietly as good as Cam Ward. No one's asking anybody to draft him over Cam Ward. No one's suggesting that Cam Ward is a sleeper or being overlooked. He's going 1 overall. So I don't really understand the question. It's not that we're all guaranteeing that Milroe is going to be better.
Like, do you like Cam? You don't like Cam Ward? It doesn't sound like, though.
I like Cam Ward. I've said that before. I don't know that he's as good at all as even 2 or 3 of the core. I mean, no, he's not better than JD5, but he probably would go as the 4th drafted quarterback in last year's draft class. So do I like Nix better than him? Hell yeah. Do I like Penix Jr. better than him? Hell yeah. So there's a lot of, it's a weak class, my guy. But if Cam Ward goes to
I think the Titans, I mean,
that's a horrible
spot. The Titans front office and their coaching staff and just the whole organization. I mean, it's a terrible organization.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't understand why you question my not liking Cam Ward in Tennessee. He's locked into Tennessee. So what do I have to work with there? Nothing. So, do I like Cam Ward? No, I don't.
So
not in Tennessee. I like him future years potentially. But I don't. I'm not drafting him in redraft. I'm not drafting him in best ball. I want nothing to do with year 1. This project in Tennessee. It's a horrible spot. So you say, how are we liking Milroe more? It's a fantasy football show. We talk a lot of NFL and fantasy. But how do I like Milroe more than Cam Ward? Because Cam Ward's in a trap, negative environment. It's not a good spot. Milroe could go to the Titan or the Steelers. He could go to the Cleveland Browns, the Saints. He could go it depends how far he falls into round 2. It depends if someone wants to trade up for him in round 1. He certainly got the potential to go in round 1. He could go to the Rams at 26, and they say, look, Stafford's year to year. They try to move on from Stafford every year. He would be a great player for them to have. Or a team like the Raiders or the Seahawks or the Saints or, a team like the Giants in round 2, it would be amazing. If Milroe was throwing to...
So is it the reason... So the reason why Shador's not being picked over Cam Ward number 1 overall, I don't understand that, because I am high on Shador, but what's the reason for that?
I mean, I go over that every day, bro. We go over that. I just went over that, and we go over it every day. There's hatred for Shador that unfortunately is painting this narrative that doesn't exist. I like Shador a lot, and I want him to go to the Giants. I want him to exceed all expectations with Coach Dable and Malik Neighbors, who is the next Jamar Chase. Malik Neighbors is probably you at least put him the 3rd best receiver long term in the NFL. If you want to put Chase and JJ over him, fine.
Yeah, I'd say Chase, JJ.
He is unbelievable. Sanders would thrive.
So the media alone is pushing Shador's value down like that much.
I don't understand what it is your questions on. Like why? How do you not understand that? Like, you turn on the TV, bro. Turn on anything. They're crapping all over this kid, saying he's not a first rounder. There's people on ESPN that say the only reason he'll go in for the first round is if an NFL GM gets involved and gets his hands in the way and pulls him into they're talking like this kid isn't being considered at 3 overall or even 2 overall a little bit. Like, it's a wild narrative. They hate Deion Sanders. Everybody's always complaining and calling Shador an arrogant kid. They retire his jersey. Everyone all over social media, everywhere, ripping the hell out of it. Like, retire Shador's jersey? That's so stupid. He has tremendous hate because of his father. So, it's a big move down. A guy like Joe Scheinbach's over in New York is very influenced. He doesn't want to make a mistake because his job's on the line. So if everyone's saying he's a bust, he's starting to listen a little bit. Like, there's a lot of reasons why Shador's falling. But, I mean, to assume that Milroe...
Shador out of the entire class, would you say it's, for you on the rankings, it'd be Shador, Milroe, Cam Ward, or Shador, Cam Ward, Milroe?
They're really close. There's pros and cons, and the landing spots are going to shake up the ranking for me. If let's say Shador goes somewhere that I don't love, then he can't rank. where he's ranking. If I'm ranking on talent base alone, I'm probably saying Cam Ward's your safest play. But I believe Milroe, if you want to take a gamble, has more upside. We just don't know if you can control it and sculpt it. It's like you're getting more clay and you're trying to make a vase or some sort of object, and you don't know if it's just going to unravel and fall apart. But you definitely have more clay and a lot more to work with. There's so much hidden potential in Milroe. He's an unbelievable specimen, and he's getting a very negative take. I bet you anything some of your negativity of it is coming from the AR5 failure. You're just tying AR5 to Milroe. He's just a running quarterback.
Well, I see the difference. I see the difference between those two. I mean, Richardson only had like maybe 13 starting games going into after being drafted.
And he's not accurate. Milroe's accurate. Milroe's a good quarterback. You'll see if he goes to the right spot. You'll see.
I don't see it.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the right spot for him then?
I mean, I've already said it.
What's the best team?
A lot of the places that I just mentioned. I mean, I think Cleveland would be unbelievable. I think the New York Giants would be the most ideal because you get Dable, who's a quarterback whisperer, on top of the fact that Neighbors is the third best receiver in the National Football League, maybe even higher. You've got a situation like the Raiders for the future. If you've got to draft this guy as a backup, which might be 50% chance that he gets drafted as a backup behind either a Sam Darnold in Seattle or a Geno Smith in Las Vegas. It depends if he's a first-round guy. If he's a first-round guy, the only team that would draft him as a backup would be at the end of the draft and probably be the Rams because they know they're losing Stafford next year. So that's anyway. I got to run, bro. Call in later tonight. I mean, we could go over this all day long.
Hey, I appreciate it, man.
All right, later, bro.
Thank you, Smitty.
All right, Travis. Then I got
just quick. What's your thoughts on Mason Taylor, the tight end? Because he's the newest guy that, like, I'm hearing he could go beginning of second, like top 40, 50 picks, and I'm seeing it from a lot of places too.
I don't know. There's a lot of people predicting things. I think a lot of people are taking stuff that's already been said that they're trying to pretend like they have this information. Like, what was the thing I saw today? I think just more of what was it? A lot of the Jeanty stuff to the 5 pick or whatever. But a lot of Ben Johnson could trade up and shock. Like, this is a bold take. He'll shock the world, and he trade up to the number 5 pick. Like, we know that. That's certainly what he's trying to do. I don't know. I think a lot of people are just repeating stuff. I don't really know where some of these guys are. Where is he being projected?
He's being projected like top 50 picks.
Yeah.
Beginning of second, beginning to middle of second.
I mean, possible, sure. I don't know that I have a real feel on it.
What do you think? Yeah, okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Because when those things pop up, I was just wondering.
I'm sure there's there's something that caused them, whoever wrote it to write it. I mean, I'm sure they've read it somewhere.
I think it was. I don't know if it was just. I don't know if it was just smoke, or I'll have to look more into it. But Eagles were one of the teams being speculated if they move on from Goddard, thinking a guy like Mason Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, he could go anywhere. I mean, just the later the draft capital, the more that any team could take anybody. Like, that's kind of the whole thing. If he goes in the top 50, then more likely the team needs him. It's a position of need. I think that the tight ends there's going to be 2 tight ends for sure in the top 20, 25, and then you might see, just like the running backs, the higher Loveland goes, if he goes like 13 or 14 or whatever, for whatever reason, then you're pulling another tight end potentially into round 1, honestly. But we'll have to see. Same thing with RBs. And you might not. It doesn't mean for sure. It doesn't mean like, oh, Smitty got it wrong. Like, of course, it's like dominoes, one falls and it changes the whole damn board. So it's tough to say. All right, Travis, calling tonight. We'll be back. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks. Later. Bye.
All right, let's see here. Phil, Denny, I saw you calling again, but I'm trying to clear the phone line off because I'm trying to get off. Calling tonight, Denny. Could Javonte be the starter in Dallas now? I mean, he is the starter in Dallas, but will he hold on to their job? I don't know. I don't trust Jerry Jones at all. I'm hopeful, but I'm not betting on it, man. I'm barely drafting him in a couple spots I have just to make sure, because we love Javonte. He was such a talent. I don't even know what's left anymore confidence-wise. Milroe equals AR5, says Daniel. That's what most people think, and I think it's unfair, and I appreciate you, Daniel, but I think it's an unfair assessment. It's like they're not even the same. It's crazy. Like, Milroe's a better runner. Milroe's a better passer. Milroe's a smarter individual. Like, AR5 isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, and Milroe's definitely a smart man. It's completely different, man. Give him another look. I promise you, he's going to impress you. Smitty, Hookah, and Chase Brown for Neighbors, correct? You probably, if you need RBs, like you're not putting some pretty solid running back on the bench. I mean, Puka and Chase Brown's probably better, but I don't know. That's so tough. For winning money and not, playing with your heartstrings or whatever, I think you probably take that. But I would not be shocked and I wouldn't blame anybody for taking it or not taking it. Rhino says, treat yourself. Thank you, Rhino, for the $2 hauler. Appreciate you. And BBQ, $10 wad on screen Mars shot. To Mars. Boy, thank you for the gifted memberships as well. How good is this show? Last year, it wasn't looking good. Found this show in mid-season. I ended up in 5 out of 6 championships, won 3, lost by 1 point in another. This show gave me the info to grind it out. More than anything, BBQ, I just love to be not only knowledgeable show, but entertaining. Like when someone, as much as I love to hear these comments about winning, some of the best compliments are like, Smitty, I've been struggling in my life, and, I listen to this show every day. It's my outlet. It's the thing I look forward to most, kind of like, I like watching Netflix and streaming, TV shows and stuff. And like, sometimes those are my solace. Like, I'm like, I can't wait to, like, especially when like Breaking Bad was in Game of Thrones, like some of my favorite, Sons of Anarchy, when those were like live, shows. House of Cards. Oh, I love that show before it all got screwed up. When it was time for one of those to air, I couldn't wait. Like that was my my most favorite part of the day. And the fact that people say that about this show, like I look forward to it every day, and that's the best compliment a person could ever get. So this compliment, those compliments, I try and be entertaining. I try and keep things different than other shows. And so anybody that's new, please subscribe. Don't miss a show. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday, and additionally live whenever big news breaks, and also most midnights. And we should be, can't guarantee the midnight streams, they're always kind of a bonus, but we should be live tonight. Thank you, BBQ, for the $10 hauler. You're the man, the myth, the legend. And honestly, bro, you've been amazing since you've been here. You've been dropping gifted memberships, helping people stay active. Appreciate you all. I'll see you all on the Patreon. Those of you that are on Patreon, if you're not, you need to get with the program. I need to give BBQ, if he's not already on it, and New Age. You guys email me, BBQ and New Age, email me access for all that you guys give. You need to be on here. But $10 a month Patreon live chat room. So the live chat you're all seeing right now and witnessing and being a part of, this community essentially is a lot of people from the community are on this live chat app. And so basically you go to patreon.com/the fantasy football show, or hit this link that I just dropped. I'm going to pin it in the live chat right now. Hit this link and join the Patreon. Cancel anytime. So if you do it for a month or two and you want to come back in August, like, it's okay. But I urge you to try it for a cost of a cup of coffee, like a venti or whatever the hell they are. I don't know what a large is anymore. 10 live chats. Well, we have like 4. We narrowed it down to keep it a little bit more clean. But like 4 live chat rooms. There's a game day lounge. Whenever there's a game going on, we're all living inside there talking about it as the game unfolds. Like, you see that play? I'm in here a lot. I live on this as much as I can during the season. I'm starting to make sure I'm taking a big role in the off-season, movement of content and responding to people. It's not a place where you just say, Smitty, what do you think? It's a community, but I am there. Go check it out. And don't forget to get on over to Underdog, promo code Smitty. Maybe tonight we'll draft. We didn't draft the last couple of graveyard shows, so maybe we'll draft. Underdog, promo code Smitty. That link is in the description of the video. It's in the live chat as well right here. I'm dropping it. sign up and be ready so you can be a part of the drafts tonight. Click that now. Don't wait until tonight. Click on the link now. Use code Smitty. The link inserts code Smitty for you. They'll match up to $1,000 on your first deposit and bonus credits. And also, I think they're still throwing a free pick in your account when you sign up. So I'll see you all tonight on the Graveyard Show. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Additionally, live whenever big news breaks and live most midnights Eastern. See you probably tonight. Thank you to my super chatters. Thank you, BBQ, Daniel, Ill Phil, Rhino. Oh, Aaron dropped one. Hold on, Aaron. Aaron dropped a super chat here. Aaron said, if Ward was in the 2018 class, where would he go? I'd probably say, I don't know. I mean, like, given what we know now and pretending we didn't know what we know now, like if we went back to 2018, I mean, Josh Allen was doubted, you know? So, even though it would have been a mistake, Josh Allen might have been below him. Josh Rosen was drafted really early. I don't know. I would probably say, like, still 5 or 6, but hard to say. That was the Baker, Darnold. I mean, those guys were ranked really high. But it's hard to compare those generations. I don't know if we can. Like, if we say, like, last year, it makes more sense. And last year, I think Cam Ward would be, like, QB 4, 5, or 6. I think it's a little easier to do that. There's just two different generations. All right, see you all later. Appreciate you.